Welcome to cloudy Cologne, and this time around we have another camera comparison, the Pixel 8 Pro against the iPhone 15 Pro Max. So let's get started. So I'm here running around with my dog. As you can see, a very cloudy weather today. Nevertheless, we want to check out those two bad boys here. And here you can see the camera specs. Both feature a triple lens setup where the Google didn't improve much. Just a 50 megapixel main camera sensor with a larger aperture opening than the previous version. And you can see the 48 megapixel main camera sensor on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and then two 12 megapixels 5x tele, as well as an ultra wide angle. And you can see here the Google Pixel can compete with this, I think, with this very good high pixel ultra wide angle and the zoom lens as well. And then we have, of course, front facing cameras as well. And I think as my dog is already pointing me to start, we start off with the front facing camera videos. Front-facing video on the iPhone 15 Pro Max suffers from no stabilization that you can see on screen. Otherwise it's pretty good, has autofocus and 4K 60 frames per second recording, which is quite cool. What do you think about the colors? HDR is a bit hard with this cloudy weather, so it is really that gray there behind me, maybe a little bit of blue there. Sometimes it's overexposing the backgrounds depending on harsh sunlight, but this time around probably you won't see any harsh sunlight. How is my skin color? How is the contrast here on the iPhone 15 Pro Max? What do you think? 4K recording on the Pixel 8 Pro, same situation. We have the possibility to record this one-time lens. We also have the possibility to go 1.4 times. I'm not sure why you want to do this. Anyway, this is the one-time lens. What do you think about this one here? My dog discovered something there. What about HDR? I think might be a little bit better here. Even we have autofocus. What about the contrast? Because I think on screen it looks very contrasty. What do you think about this one here? Now, the main sensor on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, 4K 30 frames per second. We can record here. What about HDR? What about colors? What about the background blur? What do you think about this one here? Of course, when I'm recording 4K 30 frames per second, what I can also do is switch to the ultra wide angle. So here we have now the ultra wide angle. Here you can see Timmy that's running around here as well. So what do you think about this one here? And of course we also want to perform a little zoom test. So let's do this by going here and zooming on something. And this case I thought maybe zooming on something else here this time. Two times zoom. And then we go to 5 times and 15 times. What do you think about the Timmy approved stabilization test and the quality here at 15 times zoom on the iPhone 15 Pro Max? Here we now have 20 times zoom on the Pixel 8 Pro, and I can of course go down to 15 times. It's a bit harder with the dog here, but this is now 15 times, and we can also go down to 10 times and then back to 5 times and then switch lenses 2 times. Let's go to 1 time, which we reached now. This is the one-time lens. And yeah, what do you think about the background blur here? It should be almost the same as with the iPhone, maybe a little bit less here, because this one has a slightly smaller sensor than on the iPhone, 1/1.3 instead of 1/1.28. So what do you think about this one? 4K 30 frames per second recording, can move around a little bit, so you see stabilization. Colors you can see as well. What do you think about this one here? Of course I have the possibility to also switch to the ultra wide while recording 4K 30. So just a tap of a button and we have the ultra wide angle that is a little bit wider than on the iPhone. What do you think about the quality here, especially the colors and the contrast? Look at the contrast, because this is something that I noticed that Google's Pixel is overdoing it a little bit with the contrast, at least my opinion. What do you think about the colors here on the Google Pixel? Wait a second, there was something wrong with the Pixel 8 Pro's footage. You saw that it was switching to probably the ultra wide angle for the main camera sensor instead of using the main camera sensor, even though I made sure it was 1 times that was written there on the camera app. So we have a little bit of an issue there with the Pixel 8 Pro. Apparently when you zoom in or zoom out, that it can show 1 times, but it's not really using the 1 time sensor, but using the ultra wide angle instead. So this was the case there. This is why you get this video here a day later with a bit of sunshine and lots of wind, so we can test if my wireless microphone is working fine. And I do it with a side-by-side so that I have a bit easier to compare the main camera sensors, at least, with the iPhone 15 Pro Max that you can see here right now, also now in full screen. What do you think about this? Sun shining on my face, really nice. We can also turn around to check out how they work with HDR and sun in the background. So what do you think about this one here now, the Pixel 8 Pro? Fully in its full glory. What do you think about this one here? It still, I think, has a little bit too much contrast, way too much contrast actually, than is good for it. So Google took it down a little bit, so then we have very good footage here as well. But otherwise, I don't like the Pixel 8 Pro's video footage on the main camera so much. What do you think about this ones here? Let's compare videos. The front-facing video first, much more yellow face on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, a bit cooler face on the Pixel 8 Pro, but the Pixel 8 Pro is overdoing it with its contrast here. When we take a look at the bokeh here on the front-facing camera, you can see it's a little bit soft on towards the far edges there on the iPhone. It's getting relatively sharp here towards the middle, and the rest here is also relatively sharp, has nice bokeh here. The Pixel 8 Pro is also nice here in the center where my face is and sharpening things up for sure, but the rest is very soft, and it's a lot softer than on the iPhone for sure. Also, what you can see is when we have them side by side, we have a little bit more color here on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, so HDR seems to work a little bit better on the iPhone. Selfies, now let's take a look at vlogging camera with the main camera. I had to redo it, as I told you, because the iPhone was doing it fine, but the Pixel 8 Pro had some issues there. And when we take a look at here and just compare them with each other, you can see very much the same, very much both very sharp, and the bokeh almost the same. You don't notice much of a difference there. The Pixel 8 Pro has a slightly smaller sensor only, so this is almost negligible. But we have a bit more contrasty look on the Pixel 8 Pro for sure, that we don't have so much on the iPhone, but it's very, in this situation, it's basically the same. You can see just a little more lifted shadows here, where here just keeps a little bit more there. But what you can see also in the background, let's go back there, it's way more punchy colors here on the Pixel 8 Pro with the greens and the yellows and the brown colors, and especially the green colors. Both have good HDR. Let's take a look at the full screen here of the Pixel 8 Pro. Everything looks nice and detailed there, and the iPhone 15 Pro Max also. But all over the place, when I have to compare the main camera sensors, I think the iPhone is still a little bit better than the Pixel 8 Pro, because I think the Pixel 8 Pro, especially in some situations, has a bit too much contrast there, where the iPhone 15 Pro Max maybe it's slightly bit too yellowish here and there on the main camera sensor. Let's check out and compare the zoom shots. This is now the zoom shots. I have to go a little bit further here. There we go. This is 15 times now, and let's compare it with the iPhone's 15 times. This is, by the way, the video with the iPhone way too orangey looking here on the original video on the main cam for some reason. Nevertheless, let's go to the zoom lens, and here the Pixel 8 Pro's more contrast helps the Pixel to appear a bit sharper. But when we go to 100% view, you can see it's a bit pixelated here on the iPhone, and the Pixel 8 Pro is not much better. It's just like the colors are a bit nicer there, I would say, because we have a bit too warmish kind of colors, too much raised shadows on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and here the detail level really helps with the Pixel 8 Pro. When we go to the ultra wide angle, let's do this, here we go, we can see clearly again that we have more yellowish kind of face, more shadows, more contrast on the Pixel 8 Pro. And what do you think? There's more contrast on the Pixel 8 Pro, and I think all over the place it is a bit too contrasty again. Bokeh is pretty much non-existent there on the ultra wide angle. Sharpness and detail level is there. The iPhone is less sharp there sometimes on the ultra wide angle, and the Pixel 8 Pro is sharpening things up. Summary: which video I like more the iPhone 15 Pro Max's video. I like a bit more because the Pixel 8 Pro consistently is a little bit too contrasty for me on the ultra wide angle, on the main, and also when it comes to telezooms, they're almost on par. I don't see anyone winning there. Maybe the Pixel 8 winning a little bit there, especially because it can zoom in a bit further. But yeah, what is your opinion? Here, the photos on the left, always the iPhone 15 Pro Max, on the right, always the Pixel 8 Pro. What we can see here is the ultra wide angle, and we have a wider field of view on the Pixel 8 Pro for sure. We have much more punchy colors, especially here in the greens on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. And when we zoom in, we can see a little bit more details on the iPhone 15 Pro Max on this building here. As soon as we go down, we will see it's a bit softer there, where the Pixel 8 Pro is sharpening things up a little bit. But overall, they are very comparable as well, especially also here, where you can see the detail level is almost on par, though we have a wider field of view on the Pixel 8 Pro. It is sharpening things up a little bit. Look at the wall here and at the bush there. It's a bit sharper. It appears to be a bit sharp on the Pixel 8 Pro because it's sharpening things up. It's getting soft towards the side, but because the iPhone has a narrow field of view, it's softer a little bit earlier. And then of course we have a bit more yellowish kind of colors all over the place on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Overall, I would say both very comparable. Let's take a look at the main camera sensor. Here we can see better HDR on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Yes, this kind of bluish grayish day here that we had is perfectly captured with the iPhone 15 Pro Max, where the Pixel 8 Pro has a bit of overexposed sky there, and also is a bit overdoing it with the raising of shadows. As you can see here, we see already a bit of noise where the iPhone keeps it like dark as it should be. Here we have the Pixel 8 Pro brightening things up there as much as you can see the noise already creeping in. Otherwise, in terms of colors, we have a bit more warmer colors on the Pixel 8 Pro and a little bit less warmer colors on the iPhone 15 Pro Max Cooler actually. And in terms of detail level, the Pixel 8 Pro is keeping up with the iPhone 15 Pro Max. The iPhone 15 Pro Max here has 24 megapixels versus the Pixel's 12 megapixels. Both very good in this case, but I would give the slight edge here to the iPhone 15 Pro Max thanks to the better HDR and rendering decisions. Both utilize the ultra wide angle for macro shots. The iPhone 15 Pro Max has a bit of busy bokeh, where the Pixel 8 Pro is very smooth, and also when you zoom in, it's a lot more noise going on with the iPhone 15 Pro Max on this gloomy day, where the Pixel 8 Pro has also a little bit of processing and sharpening things up. You can see a little bit more details here on the Pixel 8 Pro for sure. So the macro shots I would give to the Pixel 8 Pro, even though it's smudging things out a little bit there in terms of the other details there about the flower, but the bokeh is very nice. 5x zoom here, and what we can see here on first glance, a bit more cooler, a bit darker kind of colors, more contrast on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, where the Pixel 8 Pro keeps a bit more greenish, yellowish, warmer kind of colors. When we zoom in, we don't see much of a difference, besides that the iPhone 15 Pro Max has lots of noise already, where the Pixel 8 Pro is smudging this out or smoothing things out there, denoising very heavily. And the Pixel 8 Pro has a bit of brighter image there in general when it comes to those shadows, which the iPhone 15 Pro Max crush here, and I think a bit too much, where the Pixel 8 Pro I think is a bit better there in terms of details. But when we zoom in a little bit further, like this is like the maximum zoom that you can get with those, you will see clearly that the Pixel is very, very smooth and smudged out. Where the iPhone 15 Pro Max is not better because it's like all pixelated, but there you can see the big difference between those two, and especially also here in the tree, where you can see how much smoothing or smudging things out is going to happen, where on the iPhone 15 Pro Max it keeps a bit more detail. At least it looks like a wee bit more detail on the iPhone 15 Pro Max there. And yeah, we can zoom in a bit even further to it's just like a modern art now. When it comes to selfies, I like the iPhone 15 Pro Max better, not only because it shows here the wider field of view instead of the more cropped in like on the Pixel 8 Pro, but also because I don't look so contrasty and my face doesn't look so dark here around my eyes especially. Yes, my shirt is black, and yeah, it is not 100% black as on the Pixel 8 Pro. It's not as bright as on the iPhone 15 Pro Max though, but it is more towards the iPhone 15 Pro Max. It's just too much contrast on the Pixel 8 Pro for some reason, which I really don't like. It's a bit warmer kind of exposure as well, the white balance, and here it's a bit more bluish, greenish, darkish, grayish. We have a little bit less bokeh on the iPhone 15 Pro Max because it decided to have this shot with the wider field of view. Portrait mode on both, it's just making things worse on the Pixel 8 Pro. I think with the contrast, it's just overdoing it here. The iPhone 15 Pro Max I would take every day. When it comes to the cutout, also I think the iPhone 15 Pro Max manages this a little bit better than the Pixel 8 Pro, which like sometimes really cuts off very poorly here. Both are not perfect, but I would prefer the iPhone 15 Pro Max for selfies. When it comes to the in-between zooms, because both feature a 1x and then a direct jump to the 5x zoom lens, there's nothing in between. The iPhone 15 Pro Max is disappointing because like it has to crop in on the main sensor, and this is what you can get. Not only because it's very, very warm here looking, it doesn't look like the day that I was there. The Pixel 8 Pro is much cooler, much more realistic in this regard, but also look at the detail levels. The super resolution zoom on the Pixel 8 Pro is legit because you can see even little details here, and it's almost getting to the optical kind of 3x zoom that you would expect here, which is super, super creepy on one point. On the other point, it's like really good done by Google. And yeah, when we come to zoom lenses, let's check this out here. First of all, the text. The iPhone is not doing a lot of optimizing text. The Pixel 8 Pro is doing a little bit. We have a lot of noise going on the iPhone here. It's a bit punchier, the iPhone a bit warmer, the Pixel 8 Pro a bit cooler looking. And when we take a look at the detail levels here, I think the iPhone still wins because of more pixels there at 5x. I mean, more noise, you see a bit more pixels, and here especially the faces and so on look less smudged out as on the Pixel 8 Pro that tries to get rid of the noise and then smudge and smooths everything out a little bit more there. But this goes away when we zoom in a little bit further, like 10x for example, and look at the picture here. When I go into the Pixel 8 Pro, which one would you prefer? I think the Pixel 8 Pro has a bit more details preserved, where here the iPhone 15 Pro Max's noise is just ruining some of the faces, where the anti-noise algorithm of the Pixel 8 Pro is doing a bit better job with retaining the faces here of those people. And we can even go to 25 zoom here maximum on the iPhone. And here you can see, yes, it's like really overdoing it. And I think here the Pixel 8 Pro's denoising algorithm is doing a slightly better job. What do you think? Now let's talk portrait shots. On first glance, it looks like the Pixel 8 Pro appears a bit natural, more natural and whitish with its image here. And the iPhone 15 Pro Max a little bit too yellowish with this image. But as soon as I zoom in, you will notice something very clearly, that the iPhone is much more natural here. This is 2x zoom on both, so both have to crop into the main camera sensor and then use computational photography to make it a little bit better there. And I think the Pixel 8 Pro is overdoing it there. It's a bit too sharpening, it's just too sharp and sharpening things up a little bit too much, and look a little bit creepy there actually on the Pixel 8 Pro, and a bit ugly there. And the iPhone 15 Pro Max is more flattening my face out, and I think it's a bit more pleasant to the eye. Which one do you prefer? Also in terms of bokeh, portrait mode 2x, the iPhone 15 Pro Max has a bit more bokeh there. Then we have the 5x on the iPhone 15 Pro Max that we can use as the portrait lens as well, where the Pixel 8 Pro doesn't have this option, and for a reason. You can see already it looks very blurry. This is the 5x zoom lens on the Pixel 8 Pro. When I zoom in, you can see it looks like totally blurry. I'm not sure what's going on there. No one was hand holding it. It was put on a tripod, and no, there was no earthquake as well. So yes, the Pixel 8 Pro's 5x zoom lens, I don't think you can use it really as a portrait lens for some reason. It's very blurry, and there's a reason why they didn't put it into portrait mode. iPhone 15 Pro Max in contrast, it's a bit noisy here and there, but it's so much better there in terms of detail levels and sharpness. This is just like on another level there. So in terms of portraits, I would say the iPhone 15 Pro Max wins. Pixel 8 Pro, we can do maximum 3x zoom, which looks like this, but it's just another crop on the main sensor. It's spectacular that it can do such things, but I don't like it. You can decide which one you like, but I prefer the iPhone 15 Pro Max when it comes to the portraits. In general, I think, those are my results now. We can summarize it. The better main camera sensor on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, ultra-wide basically on par, maybe slightly better on the Pixel 8 Pro, and zoom lens on the Pixel 8 Pro better for everything that is not portraits, and especially over 5x zoom. And the iPhone 15 Pro Max with 5x zoom, I think, is still better. Now recording with the iPhone 15 Pro Max night sample 4K 30 frames per second, as always without any external microphone because it's very quiet here right now. And I'm walking towards the light right now, and we will see how good the exposure is handling this, how bright the picture is, how my face is illuminated. And yeah, we have a car coming, I think, passing by, so let's see how this will work out. And we also have now the light in the background. How is it handling the exposure on my face? Is it still nicely exposing on my face, or is it not? The cars are like going to the other direction, so let's check out the dark. If I'm going into the dark here right now, how good is stabilization? And yeah, facing the dark right now, how does it look like? And the light right in front of me, what do you think about the iPhone 15 Pro Max? This is now a video sample with the Pixel 8 Pro in the dark without any external microphone attached to it, and I'm doing the same thing as with the iPhone, walking towards the light. What do you think about the quality here? We have a pretty large sensor here on the Pixel 8 Pro, so it should be able to handle this. Now a car is coming by, so we check out how good the microphone is really, and then I will go a little bit into the dark and have the lights now in the background. How good is the exposure on my face? Is there good exposure on my face, or is it completely dark? And how does it look like when I'm now here in the dark? The light is just shining on my face. What do you think about this one here, and what about the microphone quality? Write it down in the comments. Now front-facing video recording with the iPhone 15 Pro Max 4K 30 frames per second with the front-facing camera in the dark with the light right above me. How does it handle the light and this very, very dark situation here? What do you think about the iPhone 15 Pro Max and its front-facing camera? I think it is okay, but probably very, very noisy. And now filming with the Google Pixel 8 Pro. What do you think about this one here? Front-facing camera, video 4K 30 as well, the lights there as well. Is it noisy as well? Is the sensor handling this a little bit better? How about the light source when I'm like underneath the lamp, and now with the light in the back? What do you think about this front-facing video here in the night? Usually I won't do it, but people requested it, so this is why I'm doing it. And we see a little bit of lens flare. This is, I think, an issue with the front-facing camera of the Pixel 8 Pro. What do you think? Here we have the night photos. On the left always the iPhone 15 Pro Max, on the right always the Pixel 8 Pro. What we can see here on first glance with the main camera sensor is much more yellow in color on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, much bluer colors on the Pixel 8 Pro. Also you can see it here definitely in the sky. We have some issues with lens flare effects. You can see here something going on, and there especially. When we take a look at the detail levels, you can see also that the Pixel 8 Pro has a lot more noise than the iPhone 15 Pro Max, which leads me to think of that the iPhone 15 Pro Max has a larger and better sensor than the Pixel 8 Pro. And I think you can also clearly see when it comes to detail retrieval here in the tree, for example, which is a noisy mess. Denoising algorithms are very, very smudging everything out here, where the iPhone 15 Pro Max keeps everything nice and sharp. Otherwise, the colors are a bit warmer again on the iPhone 15 Pro Max around here, where the Pixel 8 Pro keeps it a little bit more real because there are cooler colors at this fuel station there in the background. When we take a look at the 5x zoom, I think the Pixel 8 Pro does a better job at nighttime because it's just retrieving the right colors here, where the iPhone 15 Pro Max paints everything in blue for some reason. We have more noise on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, less noise, more processing on the Pixel 8 Pro, and a little bit sharper there. Overall, I like the Pixel 8 Pro picture a little bit better. Also, the surroundings are a bit brighter there as well. Let's check out the next photo, which is the 2x zoom here. So a crop on the main camera sensor, as they don't have a telezoom lens. And here the Pixel 8 Pro does a very good job when it comes to colors. It nails the colors. You can see the iPhone 15 Pro Max warm colors here, a bit overexposed. The Pixel 8 Pro, the cooler, more greenish kind of colors, but actually bluish kind of colors there, and not overexposed. The shopping center, or the shopping option here at the fuel station. With the shop, basically shopping the shop. Also, I think here the colors are nailed a little bit better on the Pixel 8 Pro. However, it has lots of noise there, where I think there's a lot of processing going on, where I think the details are better on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, thanks to, like I said, I think there's a better sensor on the iPhone 15 Pro Max for sure. When we take a look also at the background, you can see that the HDR process of the Pixel 8 Pro is much better here. No overexposure here, where here we have overexposure on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. But you also can see the lack of details and issues, like for example, it's super pixel, super lot of pixels here, what I want to say, and lots less here, so clearer on the iPhone 15 Pro Max on this zoom shot. Then for some reason the iPhone 15 Pro Max did not want to trigger the nighttime for this ultra wide angle shot. Let me just briefly go over it. Yes, overexposed the Pixel 8 Pro. Maybe the iPhone did it right because it's not overexposed. Both are not very sharp here in this regard. And I think I see just the wider field of view on the Pixel 8 Pro and a bit of brighter picture there, thanks to the night mode that kicked in. For example, I can see this building here, which is completely dark here, and I cannot really see it. But we have also this overexposure here. So let's go on to the next one, which is also ultra wide, and both kicked in the night mode, the respective night modes. And here we can see that we have a bit of bluish exposure here in the sky, where it's a bit of greenish on the Pixel 8 Pro. We have the wider field of view for sure on the Pixel 8 Pro. Going towards the side, you can see that basically the same. It's just like the 12 versus 14 millimeter difference here. And also when I go to the center here, you can see the retrieval is almost the same. Maybe the pixel a little bit better there, where here it's a bit softer, but this is really nitpicking, and I would say they're basically on par, especially if you look at here and you can see the noise algorithms and softness of the Pixel 8 Pro makes everything smudged out, where here we have still a little bit of details, at least perceived details, because it's a lot of more noise coming here in from the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Take a look at selfies. The iPhone decided to go into the wide mode and used the display, the front display, as flash, where the Pixel 8 Pro kicked in the night sight mode for the front cam, but left it at 1x zoom. When I go into details here, you can see it's a bit soft already on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, but yeah, in terms of softness, the Pixel 8 Pro triumphs here. Also, it has much more contrast added for some reason. My eyebrows are not that dark for sure. Might have something to do that it only turned on night sight and not the front flash for some reason, which did not trigger. I then manually went into the wide angle mode here on the front cam, and this gives me a very comparable shot here. You can see that the iPhone 15 Pro Max handles HDR much better, even though it has more noise for sure, and we have much more denoising algorithms going on the Pixel 8 Pro. But overall, what's important is the face, much too green and yellowish, and some weird kind of things going on here. No, there was no rain or droplets coming from above. No, I don't know what this is. Actually, some rendering issue on the Pixel 8 Pro, and my face is way too yellow here, way too dark. The iPhone does a way better job there than the Pixel 8 Pro at this selfie at night time. Then again, let's talk about the zoom one last time to show you this is 5x zoom against 5x zoom. Here I think the Pixel 8 Pro is a bit clearer there, where we have a bit more noise and more close down to earth, real kind of photo on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, where the Pixel 8 Pro is optimizing a lot already, and sometimes here, especially down here, it looks a bit artificial already. But if you need to have a zoom at nighttime to read something, like for example what kind of chemicals are inside here, then you can read it with both, but a bit clearer with the Pixel 8 Pro for sure, especially as it comes to those things here. You can see this AAR, what is it, something number, is clearly readable here. It's not readable, it's also the 24 CBM or CRM, not readable on the iPhone, it's readable on the Pixel. So I think overall, also here, this one text is like almost gone on the iPhone, where the Pixel is retrieving it. So I think overall, I think the 5x zoom at night, maybe I give it to the Pixel 8 Pro here. It's better than the iPhone 15 Pro Max in this regard. And the ultra wide angle is on par, maybe slightly better on the Pixel 8 Pro because it's a wider field of view, and the main camera definitely better on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, as long as we have the right conditions. So I think colors and processing is better on the Pixel, but the iPhone 15 Pro Max simply has the better sensor there, and it shows more often than the better colors on the Pixel 8 Pro. So what do you think? Let's come to the conclusion and summarize the Google Pixel 8 Pro performance against the Apple iPhone 15 Pro Max and what score I give it. Here you can see it, spoiler alert, 4.33 5, so it is a little bit worse than the Apple iPhone 15 Pro Max. Where it's mostly worse is the main camera sensor. It is very quickly when it comes to noise. It is an older sensor, I think, that Google Pixel 8 Pro is still using. They're compensating with software, especially with color management and so on, which is pretty good. Also HDR, sometimes better than on the iPhone, but overall the main camera of the iPhone is just a bit ahead. This is why I give the Pixel 8 Pro here 4.4 points. It's like not even a bit ahead, it is ahead, clearly ahead. The Apple iPhone's main camera is better than the Google Pixel 8 Pro's main camera. I might change the score when I compare the Google Pixel 8 Pro with other camera systems, but for now it is 4.4 points here for the main camera. When it comes to the ultra wide angle, I don't see much of a difference there. I would give them both equal points, 4.2 points. Yes, the Google Pixel 8 Pro's camera is a bit wider, but sometimes also a bit too over sharpened at some points, and especially at night the performance is basically exactly the same as of the iPhone 15 Pro Max, so I don't see much of difference there, to be completely honest. Zoom camera photos, I give the Pixel a 4.3 here because it's a bit better than the Apple iPhone 15 Pro Max. The 5 times zoom not so much, but beyond 5 times, and also especially the in-between zooms are much better, like 3 times, where it doesn't have a dedicated lens for, but the computational photography is making it better than on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Otherwise, at 5 times, I think the iPhone 15 Pro Max wins most of the time. When it comes to video recording quality, I have to give it a 4.4 here. It is worse than the iPhone for sure, because of this like too much contrast added, too much sharpening added there. And sometimes, especially when it comes to the front-facing video, we don't have good HDR, where I just have to give it 4.4 points. It's just, otherwise it would be a bit unfair there. It is still okay, but it's not the top of the line there. And this is one of the issues that I see there for sure. Maybe they will update it in the future. Autofocus problems I didn't have, so basically the same, as quick as the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Front cam, I give it a little bit worse than the iPhone 15 Pro Max, simply because of issues that I encountered with the processing, especially when it comes to selfies. When you want to do portrait modes, it's worse. When you do normal photos, then it's like the contrast is like ruining the shot, in my opinion, most of the time. This is why 4.3 points here. It's not bad because it has autofocus and so on, so sharpness is there. It's a bit over sharpened for sure, but it's okay. When it comes to the camera UI is better than on the Apple iPhone 15 Pro Max. We now have added options that are like the video mode and the photo mode that you can easily switch in between with all the options, which I like pretty much. And then when it comes to extra features, we also have some extra features like manual controls on the camera UI, not for the video mode, but for the camera mode. We have now the possibility to set ISO and shutter speed and such things, which is quite nice on the new UI. The new UI is a bit cumbersome still, so I wouldn't give it like the highest points available, but it's an improvement to the Google camera that we had before. Now it's called Pixel Camera apparently, and it's doing quite a good job. So this is my points here, as you can see, 4, 3, 3, 5. How does it end up in the ranking here? You can see if you're looking up top here, it's not there. It's actually here underneath the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. But when you look at the points, it's basically exactly the same. So it has exactly the same points as the Galaxy S23 Ultra in this regard. Just ignore the 000. This is just like the rounding stuff. You can round it up and it's the same points. So we can see that the Galaxy has way less points for the main camera, which is like, I think, a compliment for the Pixel. And also the ultra wide angle is better than on the Galaxy. And the zoom camera quality, however, the Galaxy is, I think, the best right now. Video recording quality is on par, I would say there, and the autofocus performance as well. Front camera is a bit weaker on the Google Pixel 8 Pro. Maybe you can fix it with updates. I'm really hoping that Google is fixing this very high contrasty kind of look and over sharpened kind of look with updates. At least a high contrast, then we can give it a score at least on the same level as the Galaxy S23 Ultra. Maybe, slightly worse, 4.4 points like the Honor Magic 5 Pro or something like this. Camera UI is good. There's some extra features. If they would add like the possibility for video to do manual options there, manual ISO, shutter speed and such things, I would raise it definitely to 4.3 points, something like this, very similar to the Xiaomi 13 Ultra, something like this. Otherwise, yeah, this is my result. What do you think about the Apple iPhone 15 Pro against the Google Pixel 8 Pro? I think the Google Pixel 8 Pro is like not on the same level as those top 5 smartphones or top 10 smartphones even. Is it top 10? Is it in the top 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's exactly at number 10 there. But yeah, I think that the other smartphones here that you can see here, besides maybe the Galaxy S23 Ultra, they offer a little bit more there in terms of photography and fun taking photos. However, it's not a bad camera. All of those here, I think, until the Xiaomi 13 Pro, then you will see differences more noticeable. But all of those cameras until the Xiaomi 13 Pro are basically on the same kind of category, same league. You just point and shoot and it just works and looks very, very good. Underneath there, P40 Pro Plus, you will notice when you compare the P40 Pro Plus with one of the other ones that there is a noticeable gap between the photo quality for sure, and also video quality, definitely. So that's it for this comparison. What do you think? Write it down in the comment section. That's everything. Until the next time, bye.